7 a.m., 6:30. I don't know what time it is. And every morning before I go to work, I'm always on social media. So I'm able to look at social media. I know a lot of people have a hard time driving and working on their social media or just looking at social media, right? Ooh, that was crazy. It was slippery right there. It's kind of rainy today. And a lot of people have a hard time being able to drive like I just did right now. It's crazy. All right. So I'm always watching social media. I'm posting or I stay in the slow lane. Here's the thing about it. By the way, a lot of people don't know this about me. I drive slow. Extremely, extremely slow. I drive really slow. So if the speed limit's 75, I drive 55. If the speed limit's 90, I drive about 60. So it takes a lot out of me to drive really fast. And I'm driving this Jeep. So I drive this Jeep to work every day. And I used to take the bus and the train to work every day. But then my son left me this Jeep and I've been driving this Jeep for last year, I guess. But, well, months. He left months ago. Anyway, the fact is that I've been driving and I drive really slow. Really slow. So this Jeep has where it locks in the lane and you just drive straight and you put it on. Good morning, Alex. What's up, brother? Where you just, it locks in the lane, it stays in the lane, it tells you if there's a car in front and stuff like that. It's one of those self-driving cars. So anyway, I drive in the slow lane every morning and I just cruise to work. So my average speed, honestly, my average speed in this truck is about 60 miles per hour. My diesel's a lot faster. Regardless, what I'm trying to say, I'm always checking out social media. So I'll watch social media and stuff while I'm driving. And man, Americans are so bad with money. They are so bad with money. I was watching this thing on Microsoft in MSFT, whatever. And it was saying that United States is the only country that has the most credit card debt in the world. In China, they don't give you credit to buy a car. You have to pay for it cash. I mean, most places are like that, which is realistically crazy. In third world countries, they build their own houses. And I mean, yeah, they're mud houses and look like crap, but still, they're not spending money on construction costs. A lot of people walk. And here in America, we drive. We get in these financial binds of owning a car. And everybody has to own a car. Of course, everybody has to own a car. And it's such a challenge for me to see how bad Americans are in debt. How you get into this industry and you follow a path that you saw other people doing in junk removal, and you decided to follow that path yourself. But there's one problem, is that you were in debt already, living paycheck to paycheck. And that's how Americans are. 90% of Americans live check to check. And that stat is incredible. Speaking about social media, so I'm on TikTok and I'm just going by the TikTok videos. And there's a video where it's a woman and she says, I'm living check to check. I've made the most money I've ever made. I made $80,000 and I am broke. Another woman, I make $90,000. I'm broke. I make $75,000. I made the most money ever. It's a series of videos of all these women, men. I make $120,000. He's broke. He's broke, and they're broke, and they're living check to check, paycheck to paycheck, week to week. If you think junk removal is going to solve those money woes, if you're living check to check, you're absolutely wrong. What you need to do is find a better way to manage your money. We are bad at managing money. We are bad as Americans. There's not a class in high school, and this is what happens. You go to school, you learn about history, you learn about Stalin, you learn about Columbus, you learn about mathematician, algebra, pre-algebra, all those algebras, geometry. You learn how to write in cursive. I mean, back in my day, you learned how to write in cursive. These days, they don't even show you that, I heard. But you don't learn about managing money. There's not a course in high school, when I was in high school, that teaches you, hey, $1 can only go so far. $100 can only go so far. There's not a course in that. And what we do, we get in these financial binds. We get in these financial binds where we end up buying too many things and we're in debt because everybody's got to have a cool car. Everybody has to have something nice. And you're just living check to check, paycheck to paycheck, week to week. Every single day. You're just working hard so you can pay for the next bill. And that's what I want to kind of explain to y'all. If you, as a person, as a new junk removal entrepreneur, are already in debt and you're bad with money, you know you're bad with money. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know you're bad with money. You just don't know. You got too much in debt and you're spending too much money. And you start a junk removal company, you're going to go in debt even more. You're going to need a truck, you're going to need a trailer, you're going to need some equipment, and of course you don't know how to handle money, so you go buy everything new, even though you could have got it free from a junk removal eventually. But you just didn't know that. Having extra money, oh man, I know this story. Oh, let me explain this story to you. I have a friend who lives in Texas. I have a friend in Texas who lives in another part of Texas, not locally. And I've been mentoring him for, I guess, the last 5-6 years. And we're always talking about junk removal and his things and junk removal. And I guess 2 years ago, I guess he's owned his business 5 or 6 years and found me about 5 or 6 years ago. And he's been doing good, man. He's been doing good. He's been doing great in junk removal. Post-COVID, COVID days, I'm sorry. Yeah, post-COVID, and even during COVID, he was doing really good. Of course, I was doing great during COVID too, so this guy was just rocking. And he invested a lot of money in his trucks, a lot of money in his trailers, and he was paying them off, and he was doing exactly what I told him. He did exactly what I told him. He bought used trucks, he bought used trailers, he put wraps on them, he put logos on them. He did that himself, even though I didn't think it was a great idea, but he did it. Got himself t-shirts and got himself that. And he was making a lot of money. And he did really, really good. And then the last 2 years, I've noticed a lot of things about him. I noticed that he had another kid. He added another family member to his to his family. It was a son. He called him Jacob. And then, months go by and we're talking and stuff, and he's saying, yeah, I got to back up my boat. Next, I got to move my boat to, and I said, you got to go? He goes, oh yeah, I bought a boat like 3 months ago. Me and my wife, we use it, blah, blah, blah. We go to Lake something, Takawakana or something like that. I'm like, oh shit. I said, how much was that? He goes, oh, it's $15,000. And then, you got to buy all this. And I was just like, dude, wow, you got a nice boat. Yeah. And well, that's cool. No big deal. He's making payments on the boat, the insurance and all that good stuff. And then I'm talking to him. I'm talking to this guy. And about a year ago, he moved. He moved from one home to another home. His parents were letting him use the family home. 2 kids, and then the new kid, Jacob. And then they moved to another home. They built a home, a custom built home. And he has a new home. And, I guess months go by, he's telling me his truck broke down and he's just finally going to finance another truck. He's going to finance a truck. He's got to buy a truck, a used truck, because he doesn't have any money in the bank anymore right now. And he financed a used truck, a $30,000 used truck, like an F-350. He bought it, got it financed, boom, 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 and he's running his business. And in the last couple of months, he has been struggling. And I told him, I said, listen, I said, well, how many jobs you got today? I only got 2 today. I had 3 yesterday. I landed that big hoarder job about a month ago, and it's been really helping me out a lot. And I said, hold on, man. I said, it's not about you having jobs, brother. It's about you covering the expenses for those jobs, is what I told him. I said, you had a successful business. You've always had a successful junk removal business. The point is, this time, you have more bills. You excessively have a lot more bills. You garnered an additional handful of bills. And now you need money to cover those bills. And I told him, listen, 3 years ago when we were talking, you were telling me you had a new son. And he goes, yeah, little Jacob, he's 2 years old now, blah, 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 whatever. I'm like, okay, so you got Jacob. Bringing a child into this world is like bringing a Corvette into your life. It's about a $600 payment a month, $700 payment. Now, and the reason I say that, I relate it to this. I had a Corvette. I've owned 3 Corvettes in my life. I love Corvettes. And my last Corvette I had, the payment was $774. And I can remember my last son that I had, Ashton, he felt like a car payment. He was taking so much money out of me. I was just like, man, he feels like I'm paying for a car. Diapers, Infamo. Just anything, clothing. Oh my God, anything. Pissing on the carpet and cleaning up the carpet, the cleaning supply, just anything. And it is a realistic fact that kids are expensive. And I always looked at my ex-wife and I said, Ashton's like a Corvette. He's expensive. Well, my friend who's in Texas, in another part of Texas, he says, yeah, I had a friend, I'm struggling with bills. And I said, well, you had a son a couple of years ago. That was expensive. He goes, yeah, we underestimated how expensive it was. I said, bro, didn't you buy a boat? He goes, yeah, I'm making payment. I'm still paying that boat. I got a 5-year deal, I bought the boat for $15,000, and then I had to buy somewhere to park it, and then that was like $200, and then I had some work done to it, and I'm like, I want to know how that helps your business. Oh, it's just, relaxing, it helps me unstress, it helps me relax so I can go fishing on the weekends and stuff. And he's just telling me this stuff, and I'm like going, dude, whoa, bro, pump your brake. That's another bill. That is another bill. And then by the way, he has jet skis too. He bought jet skis like months later after he bought the boat, because he loved the boat so much. He bought jet skis. He financed those $7,000 jet skis. And I'm thinking, you're still making payments on those? And he goes, yeah, man. And this is a conversation we had like last week. And I wanted to tell this story, so I asked him. He said, don't mention his name. And I just thought about telling the story now. But he had Jacob, his son, 3 years ago now, which is expensive. And then now he bought a boat. And then he bought a house. And he bought these in a 3-year span, which he spread them out. I understand that. I totally understand that. It seems like every year for the last 3 to 4 years, he's been buying something, or something has happened in his life. And, these things that people do in their finances add expenses to their business. And you're like, think about this way, guys. What are some of the expenses that your business does not cover, that are family expenses, personal expenses? What are some of those expenses your business doesn't cover? Well, no, it covers everything. If you own a business, you're paying your business expenses. Separating both is entirely different. I mean, how do you make money? Your wife, is she working? Is she paying those bills? Is your wife paying those bills at home? And you're just managing to stay in business? The whole purpose of owning a business is to pay your living expenses. And I'm talking to my friend, and I said, listen, brother, we just talked about you buying a home about 4 months ago. How much is your payment on your house? And he said, oh man, $2,500. I'm like, holy shit, $2,500. That's his home mortgage. His home mortgage is $2,500. $2,500. His boat is $500. That's $3,000. He just bought a truck, and his payments on his truck are $700. So there he's at $3,700, and then his new son, which is costing him an additional $700. That's $4,200 a month extra that 3 years ago he did not have. Now, just in my head, I'm thinking about these things. I'm thinking about fuel for the boat, fuel for the new truck, expenses that a new house brings. Holy moly. And we're talking about insurance. We're talking about electric, running a whole new AC. I mean, a new house has expenses. Gas for the lawnmower, just any expenses that a new home brings. When you buy a new house, you better get ready. There are expenses. There's going to be a lot more expenses living in an apartment. You know, when you're paying $1,000 rent on an apartment, you have to look for like $1,000 plus electric, $1,150 plus water, $1,200. In a house, it's totally different. If you're paying a mortgage for $1,000, your electric's about $300. Your water bill's about $100. There, it's more expensive. Everything's more expensive in a home. So I'm telling this guy, I'm thinking, dude, you bought a house, you brought in that $2,500 bill, you brought in the boat bill of $500, you brought in the vehicle bill of $700, and you brought in a new son that's additional $775, but which is estimated. So he brought in over $4,200 extra into his daily, monthly expenses. And guess who has to pay for those? His junk removal company. I said to him, last year, brother, you didn't have these expenses. I told him 3 years ago, you didn't have these expenses. Now you have these expenses. You've done this to yourself. You touched money, and money has made you get more bills, more expenses. I want to tell everybody a secret right now. This is a secret that I learned, and it took me 8 years to learn this. It really took me 8 years in junk removal to learn this. I want to explain this to you. Okay? I want you to listen up to this one. Everybody is always thinking about their sales. Everybody is always wondering about their expenses. The revenue. Man, how much am I going to make today? How much am I going to make this week? How much am I going to make this month? Everybody's always thinking, how much can I make? I'm going to tell you something. You need to stop worrying about how much you make and start worrying about how much you spend. Your expenses are the ultimate killer in your business. Your expenses will end your business, not your sales. It's your expenses. If you have more expenses than you're bringing in, you are in trouble. If you have the same amount of expenses that you have, I'm going to tell you, you're going to be able to go to work and not make any money. And that's what happened to my friend. he was making good money. He was making about $5,000 profit every month extra. And I'm pretty sure down the line when pretty sure when I had this explanation, this talk to him, and I was conversating with him, that it just doesn't go through his brain that, bro, you have too many expenses. You're making a lot of money, but you're spending a lot of money in this industry. I'm going to read some of these comments really. Capro says, problem is most people never had real money and want finally feel good about themselves and buy. And yeah, you're exactly right. And you're right. You're absolutely right. Let me say that. Let me explain what you're saying. You never had money. You never had $5,000, $10,000 in your hand. You've never had it. And when it came to your hand, you don't know what to do with it, so you spending more money. Wow, this is easy to make in Jungle. I just made $1,000. And you never knew what to do with it. Man, I'm making $1,000 every week, man. I can afford a $500 payment of car. So I bought my wife a new Yukon. You know, I'll buy my wife this. I'll buy my wife that. You never had real money in your life, and now you had it, and you started excessively spending it. Decapital, I don't know how to say your name, but he says he sees it all the time. Brother, you see it all the time. I live it every day because people call me every day and tell me about this. In my junk removal business, my expenses are so low. So low. And I tried to keep them. Heck, I have Metro PCS as my phone service. And I've had it for the last 12 years. Just because they're so cheap. Just because they're so cheap. I'm very tight when it comes to putting gas in my trucks. I only put as much as I need. I do everything really, really tight, and I don't excessively spend. Because I know that my expenses are more important to me than my sales. And I'm just blessed by God that my business has matured and it's made me a lot of money in the last few months, a lot. And I'm happy about that. Oh, God, thank God. In the last few months, last few years, I've been able to make a lot of profit because my business matured somehow. It just started making money. And I'm happy for it. It's going to take a long time for your business to make real, actual money. What's this? Oh. But I want to explain to y'all that this journey that you take in junk removal can only endure so many expenses on a weekly basis and a monthly basis. If you're making money in junk removal, you know, in conclusion, I want to end this video. In conclusion, there are going to be times that you make a lot of money in junk removal and you're going to want to spend a lot more money than you're making. If you decide to get in this junk removal industry and start your own business and be the entrepreneur, which is a beautiful thing, by the way, you have to watch out the money you spend. And don't be ignorant to the fault in your business. And this is, gosh, I know there's people watching this video and go, oh my God, that happened to me. Oh my God, that happened to me. I was making $25,000 a month in sales in junk removal. And out of those $25,000, I was making $15,000 profit. And out of those $15,000 profit, I was only spending $5,000 for my living expenses and my and I was making $10,000 profit. But now I've bought a house, I have kids, I bought this, I can, now that money's gone because you brought in more expenses. The coldest says, keeping money in my account brings me more joy than actually spending it. It's waking up like a real man. It's true. It's true. I've always said to a lot of people, living paycheck to paycheck is one of the worst feelings that you can have. I don't live like that. I live year to year. And what that means is that if my business closes today, I'll be able to have enough money to live for another year and pay my bills and my expenses. You have to be careful. When your business gets to week, you're in trouble. When it gets to month, you're getting a little better. And when it gets 3 months out, you're getting a lot better. And when it gets 6 months, you're doing good. Always try to live 3 months out, man. Always. Living paycheck to paycheck really, really sucks. I showed up over here to O'Reilly's and they're still closed. That sucks, man. Anyway. Living check to check is horrific, man. Guys, I want you to know that this video is a motivational video. It's not something, I want y'all to realize what's going on with most Americans out here. 90% of us live check to check. Another 5% of us, it says, and I was reading these stats on SNBC, another 5% are living under check to check, that they're not even breaking even. They're putting stuff on their credit card just to survive. Yeah. So they're losing every week. And every week they're putting an additional $200, $300 on the credit card, and that's building up, and they can't pay that off, and that's why we get in debt. And it's horrible. Did you know only 5% of Americans own a business? Only 5% of Americans start entrepreneurship. We are a special breed. We are a special breed, guys. Junk removal is a special breed. Yep. Junk removal is only for the few of us. Starting a business is only for a few of us. So don't be crazy and spend a lot of money on expenses and family expenses. Don't do that. Take your time. Don't take trips. Don't go having kids when you can't afford them. And there's a lot of people that do that. So with that, be careful with your expenses. All right, guys. So don't forget also to subscribe to this channel. Next year, Dallas Junk Summit here in Dallas, Texas, March of 2024. Next year, tickets are $150. And if you're a local person, check out my junkyard haunted house that opens every weekend in October. This October, I have a haunted house made of junk. Literally, we use junk. All right, I'll talk to y'all later, guys. Don't forget to subscribe. See ya. I hope this video reaches you and motivates you.